All right, let's just jump right in. We're about to go on a hunt for a kind of hidden code. I'm talking about a fundamental pattern that seems to connect three things that feel worlds apart: ancient Chinese wisdom, modern mathematics, and, believe it or not, the absolutely mind-bending reality of quantum physics. I know, it sounds kind of out there, but you gotta stick with me on this one. So it really all boils down to this one question. What in the world could a 3,000-year-old book of divination possibly have in common with the very device you might be watching this on right now? And with the fundamental rules that govern the entire universe? Well, it turns out the answer is a single, surprisingly elegant idea. And here's that idea. This is the core concept we're going to be digging into. That reality, it isn't really about physical things. It's not about stuff. It's actually about the relationships, the patterns, and the constant flow between different states. This right here, this is our first major clue. So let's officially begin our investigation. We're looking for a single underlying code that connects everything. Think of this as opening the first file in our cosmic detective case. Our mission really is to see if we can uncover a code that elegantly brings together three huge domains of human experience: the ancient search for wisdom, the pure, clean world of logic found in math, and the almost unbelievable power that we've unlocked through physics. So let's get to our first big piece of the puzzle. And what's wild is that it all comes down to the simple but incredibly profound power of two opposing forces. Now, just look at this slide for a second, because this is an incredible parallel. Over on the left, you've got the I Ching. It's this ancient Chinese text all about understanding change. And its entire system is built on just two states: yin, the broken line, think of it as passive or receptive energy, and yang, the solid line, which is active, creative energy. And on the right, modern binary code, 0 and 1. It is the exact same fundamental system, just separated by thousands of years. And the timeline here is it's staggering. By stacking those yin and yang lines in little groups of 6, the I Ching created 64 unique combinations, or hexagrams, which they believe could map every fundamental situation in life. Okay, now fast forward 3,000 years. The brilliant mathematician Leibniz develops what he thinks is a totally new system. And when someone later shows him the I Ching, he is apparently just floored. His modern invention was actually ancient wisdom. So here's the really crucial takeaway from this part. From just two simple states, yin and yang, 0 and 1, on and off, you can build staggering, almost infinite complexity. You can describe every situation in human life. You can run every computer on the entire planet. And maybe, just maybe, you can build a whole universe. Okay, on to our next clue. Because this is where that ancient binary logic makes a shocking comeback, showing up in one of the strangest and most powerful theories in all of science: quantum physics. You know, deep down at the heart of quantum mechanics is this wild idea called complementarity. It's the bizarre notion that two totally opposite things that feel like they should cancel each other out, can both be true at the exact same time. So, for example, physicists found that on the most fundamental level, a particle of light, a photon, sometimes acts like a spread-out continuous wave. It's diffuse, it's full of potential, like a field of possibilities, which, you have to admit, sounds a lot like the ancient idea of yin. But then, at other times, that very same photon acts like a solid, definite, single point in space, a particle. It's focused, it's actualized, it's a single thing, which you could easily call yang. So it's both, at once, until you look at it. And what did the I Ching actually call itself? The Book of Changes. Its core teaching is that nothing is ever fixed. Everything is in this constant dance, always becoming its opposite. And that isn't just some vague philosophy. It's a perfect description of what physicists see happening in quantum fields every day. And hey, if you think this is all just a neat coincidence, check this out. Niels Bohr, one of the absolute founding fathers of quantum physics, was so struck by this very parallel that when he was knighted, he chose the taijidu, the yin-yang symbol, for his official coat of arms. He saw the direct link between ancient Eastern wisdom and his revolutionary new science. All right, now we get to what might be the most profound clue of all, the one that pulls us, the person watching, right into the middle of the equation. This is where you actually enter the story. So, how does reality go from being this fuzzy cloud of maybes to the solid world we all see? Well, quantum physics kind of gives us a three-step recipe. First, everything exists as a wave function, which is just a mathematical way of saying it's in all of its possible states at once. Second, a conscious observer decides to interact with it, by measuring it or even just by asking a question about it. And third, that very active observing forces that wave of possibilities to collapse into just one single definite reality. So let's just look at this parallel because it's kind of perfect, right? In physics, the observer literally creates one outcome from a sea of possibilities just by looking. And how does the I Ching work? It's a tool for asking questions. The whole system is based on the idea that the person asking the question is fundamentally tangled up with the answer that they get. The question itself actually shapes the reality of the answer. So what does this all really mean? It means we're not just passive spectators watching the universe do its thing. We are an active, totally necessary part of the process. In a way, we are the eye that the universe uses to turn its own potential patterns into actual observable reality. Okay, so we've gathered all our clues. We've got the ancient binary code, the quantum flux, the role of the observer. So let's put it all together on the table and see what this unified code might tell us about where humanity is headed. This table really lays out the whole blueprint. You've got the I Ching, which is built on the logic of constant change, and it offers us a path to wisdom and balance. Then you've got mathematics, built on unchanging structure, which gives us the logic to build our world. And finally, quantum physics, built on probability, which unlocks the raw power to manipulate reality itself. These are the three pillars: wisdom, logic, and power. Now, if we look at all of humanity as one big quantum system, you could say that right now we're in a state of incoherence. We are all acting like separate individual particles, billions of ones all moving around but without a truly unified purpose. We have all the pieces, but they aren't really working together. And this visualizes the next potential step in our evolution, the move toward coherence. Now, this isn't about losing who we are as individuals. It's about all the individual parts learning to interact in a way that creates something new, something more powerful, a functional whole, where the collective becomes so much greater than the sum of its parts. And what's amazing is that for the first time in all of human history, we actually have the tools to do this. Mathematics has given us global connectivity. The internet. Physics is on the verge of unlocking almost endless sources of energy. The only piece that seems to be missing is the wisdom, that ancient understanding of balance, to guide how we use all this incredible logic and power. Which, of course, leaves us with the final, defining question for our time. We've unlocked the logic to build anything we can imagine, and we've harnessed the power to change our world on a fundamental level. But after 3,000 years of knowing the rules, have we finally developed the wisdom to use them correctly?